Peace. I just wanted to take a moment and just build about the truth, right? I check out a lot of different things, online, and just being amongst different people and hearing different type of discussions. And there's always an argument or debate or discussion along the lines of what's true and what's not true. And sometimes I see people playing these semantic games, and ultimately, one of the biggest issues I see with discussions along those lines is that the people who are having these discussions, sometimes they don't even have a common standard from which to judge and weigh what is actually true or not. Meaning, there's no common denominator. There's nothing that both of them can equally look at and say, this is going to be the standard of measurement that defines and governs what we weigh as really true in order to verify it. Something that's objective. For the most part, it's one person just saying, this is what I believe or feel is true, and then it's the other person saying that's what they believe or feel is true, and there's no way to validate or verify what they're saying or invalidate it. It's kind of like trying to tell somebody what you believe is not true. There's no need to prove what you believe. So, so that often poses a big problem when it comes to communication, and if people are not striving to adhere to any kind of standards or common basis from which to judge and weigh things, then that's an indication that they're not really concerned about what is ultimately true. Because when you look at the truth is that which is actual, that which is real. And the truth is something that doesn't need our belief. The truth doesn't need our confirmation. It doesn't need a cosigner. It is what it actually is. And sometimes you may see people who are in a situation where they're being compulsive about the truth. And that's one thing that you may hear about religion, that religion should not involve compulsion. Why? Because if that religion or that doctrine or belief is true, you don't need to be compulsive about it because it's going to be regardless if you're here or not. So when you see a person who's being compulsive about anything, if they're constantly replaying an incident or a situation over and over again in their head with an endless loop, there's one or two reasons why they're doing that. Either they're doing that to try to deny an actual reality that exists, so they're on an endless loop to try to superimpose this over the drum track of their life, or they're endlessly looping an incident over in their mind because they want something to be true that doesn't really coincide with what's actual and what's real. Either way you look at it, this person is in a state of denial. Because like I said, there's no compulsion that comes along with the truth. It is going to be what it is. A long time ago, Baptist pastor of a church that I went to when I was younger, he's probably like in his 80s right now, he once said that, you can outlive a lie, but you'll never be able to outlive the truth. And sometimes when you listen to people and you make an assessment of the different things that they're talking about or that they're saying, just be patient. If you see some contradictions there, let them contradict themselves, because if it's not true, all of that will come out in the wash. And for those of you who are in a situation where you're in denial, realize that in time, the truth will be shown for what it actually is. You don't have to be compulsive about it. You don't have to keep replaying incidents and events over and over and over again in your head, either to deny something as being true or to try to make something appear true that actually isn't. Just live. And that's one of the best ways to truly assess if something is actual and if something is real. Just watch how someone lives. Watch what they do. And then you'll see the evidence of what's true and what's not true. I was building with one of my mentors the other day, and we was building about Truth or Square. And, here's an example of Truth or Square. We say that the truth has is symbolic to a square. A square has four sides, it has four corners to it. Each of those corners are 90 degrees or right angles. 90-degree angles is 360. So if you really want to be truthful about a situation, you have to be circumspect, meaning you have to look at things in a panoramic view. You have to have a 360 degrees observation of the whole situation. Now, when you look at that square having four different angles, whenever you approach a situation, there's going to be four different angles that you always have to consider. The first one and the most primary angle that people can consider is their own, obviously. It's how I see it. It's how I think, how I feel, whatever. The other three angles is how somebody else thinks, how they feel, how they see it. You have to be able to consider that because that's another side to the square. That gives you more of a circumspect perspective of what the truth actually is. So that's the second thing that you have to consider. The third thing that you have to consider is what you both are saying in common. That goes back to what I said about a standard. So you have to have a standard that is common between you, something that you both agree on. It's snow outside right now. You know, if me and the person are sitting here having a discussion and they're under denial that, no, I don't believe or think or feel that it's snow outside, then we're not going to arrive at the actual truth because they're in the state of denial. So that is a third angle that you have to be able to have when it comes to being able to arrive at the truth, what you both agree on. Now the fourth angle, which is also important, is what you both are not seeing. Meaning, if you want to find the truth, you have to come with an open mind, willing to learn and listen to what you have not even considered. And that's one of the things that really a lot of people falter at when it comes to being objective enough to be able to ascertain the actual truth. Now, like I was saying, I was building my mentor the other day, and I asked him, well, what's a practical example of truth to square? You know what I'm saying? In the God life, he was like, well, imagine you're in a room with three people. So that's four people in the room, you and three other people. One person knows your past. One person knows how you are now in the present, and the other person don't know nothing about you. If whatever you're saying and how you're living demonstrates the truth, then whatever it is that you're living or demonstrating will hold up under the circumstances of questioning of all of those three individuals, because a person knew how you were, a person knows what you're about right now, and then another person is going to be asking completely objective questions because they have no knowledge of who you actually are. Now, if a person cannot withstand that type of pressure or be able to maintain or endure that situation of questioning and honest questioning, then the truth is eventually going to come out. Because either somebody from the past or somebody from the present or somebody just being objective enough to ask certain type of questions where they see illogics and irrational and unreasonable statements and basically not true statements, all of that is going to come out in the wash. You know, so in conclusion, when we say the truth is a square, you know, a square is also representation of that which is foundational. And anything that is foundational is something that's stable, it's something that's enduring. And if it does not endure, if it's not stable, regardless of what somebody says, then it's going to show and prove itself not to be true. And like I said, there's nothing to be compulsive about. Just watch what happens. Just watch what people do. All right? Peace.